of Marco Tullio. Christian Theoharis comes into the squad, as does another former Victory man in Will Wilson. They both start. Smith, Wenzel Halls and potential debutants in Brantman and Bushek on the bench for Mark Jackson. Just the one change, and it was the match winner in Perth last weekend. Ben Falami starts at the expense of Nishan Vilupale. Jake Brimmer, the Warren medalist, returns to the bench. No Stefan Negro in the squad subsequently. Tony Popovic, a pretty stable outfit for this one. Kickoff is not far away. Melbourne Victory ready to go through the last of their preparation then. A couple of sprints on a very warm 28-degree day. It is sunny in Sydney. The humidity a little bit higher than many Victorians would have expected. Speaking of Victorians, Will Wilson already started against the Victory once this season, so he's already had that little taste against his former team. Dan Hall going through his paces. And this Central Coast team stocked with young talent. There's a look at the head-to-head. Melbourne Victory very much dominant as far as games won, and the goal tally of 94-71 also reflects that. Paul Izzo, former Mariner, amongst his travels, so he'll be looking to keep it tight at the back for Victory. And as teams make their way out into position, Melbourne Victory will attack the lefty of your screens. Mark Jackson, we heard from him in pre-game. 7-game undefeated streak shows that the Mariners are one of the form teams in the league right now. But he did describe Melbourne Victory in very flattering terms, because Tony Popovic and his assistant there, Arthur Dillez, have this side undefeated. Not without its tests, though. Certainly in Perth last week, but they fell behind. Today's whistleblower will be Ben Abraham, assistants Arvin Shanmuganathan and Hugh Fenton-White. Fourth officials Nathan Shakespeare, and the VAR, should we require it, is Casey Rybelts. So Victory fans have made their way north for Unite Round, and hopefully they and the Mariners will provide the soundtrack to this one. A vital game between two informed teams. Who will make a statement about their title credentials today? We didn't think we'd be saying that about the Mariners after the first month of the season, but we very much could be at the end of 90 minutes in this one. So, Unite Round kickoff for Melbourne Victory against the Central Coast Mariners. And I'm joined here at Allianz Stadium by former Matilda Grace Gill. Grace, we've already had a taste of Unite Round. We ran into each other out at Leichhardt Oval last night. It's great to see you here for some A-League men's action today.
Well, thanks, Teo. Good afternoon, and great to be here at Allianz Stadium on what is a beautiful afternoon in Sydney. And what a fixture we have ahead of us as well. Two informed teams, and Central Coast obviously on the rise, and Melbourne Victory, well, they've had a dazzling start to the year, but of course a lot of interest in how the Mariners settle without Tullio.
When the team sheet dropped, we saw two potential debutants for the Mariners. We know they're so good at promoting youth. Moving on from Marco Tullio, here's one of the youngsters in their starting 11, Will Wilson, who Victory will know well, as Connor Chapman clears the ball away. Couldn't have got a more dramatic finish for the Victory last weekend. Perth equalised in the 89th minute, only for Victory to go and win it in the 96th. And maybe it's not a surprise that Ben Falami was rewarded with a start for scoring that match-winning goal.
Well, rightly so. Doing his job as a substitute last week, coming on, making an impact, and Tony Popovic did well to pull that one out in the dying stages of the game. But excitement for Victory, and their run lives on.
El Torres has his run checked, and Victory will respond. Daniel Arzani, one assist last week for Zinedine Mishash, and a giveaway that led to a Perth goal. So perhaps some of the crueler fans described it as 2 assists. Here's Jason Guerrier. Everything slows down a bit. You and I, Grace, have both experienced the weather on the way in. It is a hot one. The players didn't look like they were going super hard during their warm-ups, well aware that the afternoon sun will definitely still be shining onto the pitch for the first half of today's game.
Yeah, warm afternoon in Sydney, about 28 degrees Celsius, so a toasty kick-off to this match. No doubt the temperature will drop as it wears on, but I would be surprised if for a few minutes we just see both sides try and just get a gauge and settle into the match, test the temperature on the pitch as well.
Damien De Silva Still a pillar of strength at the centre of the Victory defence, who are just happy to get a feel of the ball in these early stages. Roderick Miranda and now Fabian Monge, back in his hometown, of course, the Sydney side that spent the winter with Apia Leichhardt. Now Brian Teague. Victory trying to get a passing triangle going, but it comes unstuck and resets at the feet of De Silva. Here's Guerrier. And now Mishash gives the ball away. Alu Kuol shouts for handball. That's been the talk of Unite round for Melbourne City and Western Sydney Wanderers fans so far. Referee happy to wave play on here. Chapman to Arzani. Against Farrell. This is a battle. The young defender gets the points in the first little duel between the two. And he's eagerly back in and winning a foul. And Jacob Farrell will be hoping that sets the tone for what is no doubt going to be a very tricky day.
Yeah, interesting battle, that one. Two young talented players up against each other, and Farrell, well, he's been so sound for the Mariners. I know Daniel Arzani loves to take a touch and then drop the shoulder drive in on his left foot. Farrell will be acutely aware of that.
Torres tries for the return pass with Farrell. Monge interrupted, working with Teague. Teague now unable to thread through the defence. Storm Roo, former Victory man. We heard in pre-game it's his 31st birthday today. Roo did spend 2018 to 2021 at Melbourne Victory, of course. Kiwi international. Arzani tried to force a pass to Mishash. We saw that combination in a goal for Mishash last weekend. It's Wilson with a flick header on. And now Theoharis. Christian Theoharis using his strength to protect the ball from two opponents and then is cleverly able to win a foul.
Well, it's an important game this afternoon for Christian Theoharis. He's largely featured off the bench for the Mariners. An opportunity tonight to do his best from the get-go. You mentioned as well, using his strength, such a physical player, low centre of gravity, gets stuck into those 1v1 challenges.
For a player whose name has been on an A-League roster for so many years, it's only game number 50 for him today, and his career revival at the Central Coast Mariners has been a special one, especially given that he was very much an afterthought at Western United, battling COVID a number of times. Couldn't really crack it for a game. Here he is starting in Unite round as Farrell cuts the ball in, not able to find a teammate. Swept away by Teague. Through comes Brian Kaltak in the air. Victory players treading on each other's toes. They're able to work it out. And Arzani, quick fire pass, knocked away by Kaltak once more. Farrell trying to consolidate. He just gets shoved unceremoniously in the back, and that's a couple of times now that Jacob Farrell has been able to win a foul for his team.
Yeah, it's good play yet again by Jacob Farrell, and how many times do we continue to say that as the season wears on? Just a little hefty challenge in the back from Mishash. Is an easy call for referee.
Mariners with a chance to enjoy a bit of possession, but Victory want to make it difficult. Dan Hall and Max Ballard getting pressed. Kaltak, an errant touch, and now he has to turn back to his veteran goalkeeper, Danny Vukovic. Up goes Roo. Kuol can't get the better of Roderick Miranda. Izzo has to be sharp here. And a composed De Silva finds Connor Chapman. And now the Victory can break into attack. Monge to Teague. Ben Falami trying to get himself involved in the game after a few touches in the first 6.5 minutes. Kind deflection almost worked out for the Victory. Wilson straight back to Teague. Wilson imposes himself and wins it back for the Mariners in combination with Christian Theoharis. And this is a good little run here from Wilson, and he's able to win a foul in the first card of the game. It's been a foul-heavy first 7 minutes, so even though it might feel a bit early, Fabian Monge is perhaps the culmination of quite a few free kicks being given away.
Yeah, it's good play there by Will Wilson, just looking to break quickly. He made the supporting run around and Just too handsy there from Monge.
Harris, we know he's got a long shot in his locker, and perhaps his teammates were expecting it. That's why they were all caught a little flat-footed by the pass that he went for in the end.
That's a lot of football now for Fabian Monge to hold on to a yellow card, and he's going to have a lively afternoon looking after the likes of Thea Harris and Will Wilson.
I think the key is for the Mariners to engage him, because one thing Monge does as his specialty. Will stay with play here as Victory venture forward through Falami. Tries to get the better of Rue, and the veteran Kiwi was able to stand his ground and avoid conceding a free kick, allowing Dan Hall to clear. Monge, he is a space eater. He doesn't necessarily have to be playing the ball. He doesn't necessarily have to be making tackles. He is very much a player that creates the perception of a crowded midfield rather than needing to actively impose himself on the contest, and maybe that will be why he's able to stay on a card for potentially 80 minutes tonight. Good decision here under this throw-in for Central Coast. Miranda had an arm awkwardly in the air, falls at the feet of Mashash. He's quickly dispossessed by the backtracking Qual, and now Thea Harris. Angel Torres. Wilson launches into the header, but he's trapped offside.
A disappointing outcome for the Mariners after what was some really good defensive duties in the middle by Alu Qual. Just working hard to regain possession for the Mariners, and ultimately Wilson just drifting to an offside position when you can see the whole length of the line. You should be able to measure your run there and stay onside.
Here's De Silva. Casually strolling out of defence. Mariners now start to hunt the ball. Falami. Ballard trying to throw him off balance. As the whistle goes, it's offside at the other end, and it gives us a chance to say good afternoon down at pitch level to Glenn Lauder.
Good afternoon to you, Teo. Great atmosphere here at Allianz Stadium. Fans of all different clubs for this one, and what a cracker that you can hear the Victory fans in the microphone. They're making plenty of noise, and what a great afternoon it is. Mark Jackson as well seemed a bit happier in the pre-game as well. Of course, he's got his game face on now, but his wife, his 23-year-old daughter, his 19-year-old daughter, and his 7-year-old son arrived in Australia on Thursday. So he hasn't seen them since October. It was a long, lonely Christmas for him. He has had his oldest daughter's partner working at the Mariners. So they've been housemates over the last couple of months. But the family's in town and they're here for the long run for Mark Jackson. Hopefully the Mariners can do something here for him.
As we stay with Torres, they nearly do something right on cue. Thank you, Glenn. A nice little bit of intel about the Jackson family making their way to the coast after all. And Torres ends up just gently sailing that one out for a goal kick.
He's a player who's really grown into this Mariners outfit as the season has worn on. Torres started a little slow, you'd have to say, but has found his footing well under the leadership of Mark Jackson. He's got a couple of crucial goals as well, and is looking perhaps to be more the player that the Mariners recruitment was hoping for.
Thea Harris challenges Guerrier. Whistle goes. We are not even at 12 minutes in, Grace, and that is 6 fouls for the game already. So neither team is afraid to leave a boot in or grab if they feel it necessary. Mariners not able to make a great deal of an errant free kick. They will settle for a throw-in. Guerrier wins the header. Nisbet. Wilson. Brought the ball under his control eventually. Angel Torres. Farrell works his way out to the overlap. That's where the ball goes. with Wilson, but Connor Chapman has position and will successfully usher the ball out for a goal kick. Safe to say neither team on top at the moment. Both teams have had a fairly lengthy feeling out process here.
Well, there was always going to be the question for the Mariners to begin about how they readjust to life without Tulio involved. And as well today, without Brad Tapp in the middle of the park, we're seeing double pivot. We'll come back to that point.
Falami sees Arzani. Victory fans urge him to shoot. Arzani on the tight angle. And he's able to draw a save out of Vukovic, who is sure-handed, kneeling down to the ball.
Well, he's done well to get that strike away, Daniel Arzani. I know he's so fleet-footed. Little drop of the shoulder. And he's connected well on the strike too. Farrell just can't get that leg in the way. Vukovic alert to the danger. As I was saying just prior to that passage of play, Central Coast Mariners setting up this afternoon with that double pivot in midfield. Interesting, Ballard and Josh Nisbet, who's largely been deployed a little further up the field this season. Nisbet, to much success, is having a wonderful season for the Mariners.
Theoharis trying to get between the lines. A kind deflection. Storm Roo as far forward as we've seen him venture today. Qual waiting in the middle! And the finishing touch was not applied. A great chance for Central Coast. A great chance for Alu Qual. The game remains 0-0.
Well, that's a gilt-edged opportunity for the Mariners. You mentioned it, a kind deflection. This delivery from Storm Roo, that's delightful. Perfect timing, perfect weight of the pass. That's got to challenge Paul Izzo. Central Coast Mariners won't want to rue missed opportunities today, and that was a beautiful one.
Well, who found the back of the net against Victory back in December. See Mark Jackson starting to get the dialogue chirping away on the sideline. He won't be happy. That should have hit the back of the net for 1-0 Central Coast. Led off for the Victory. Who we all expect to play a key role for the Olyroos as they try to qualify for the 2024 Paris Olympics. The tournament is coming up in April. Of course, your form in the A-League has to be sharp to get picked. Victory now. Economidis. Into a little cul-de-sac of 1-on-3. Arzani. A low driving cross. Awkward to clear, but Hall was able to half volley it away. Ball finds the safety of the touchline for a Victory throw. Teague, a little bit of space to direct his pass. He hits the right, just a bit too much on it for Chapman. Or was it? He kept it in. Play continues. Yellow Army right over in that corner. Give their thoughts to both Connor Chapman and the assistant referee. But he did well to run that pass down. Roderick Miranda. Garia, first time ball. Very difficult for Economidis to do much with it. Now Mishash. Teague. Switching flanks. Caltac got up in the air before Arzani could volley it to his advantage. Torres against Arzani, and Victory get the throw. They stay on the attack as a result. Combining with Mishash. Nisbet intercepts his pass. Qual, little blind knock and spin. Will Wilson is going to retrieve it and make it work, or is he? Because Mishash is all over him and they're forced to give away. Economidis. Ball is stripped from him. Falami. Falami uncorks a shot, and Vukovic is equal to it.
Yeah, don't mind that at all from Falami. Victory with a nice bit of sustained possession and just struggling with that final pass. So Falami got his highs up, decided to get the shot away. And Danny Vukovic just a little concerned.
80th A-League men's appearance today for Ben Falami. Just the 8 goals. Was not scored in 7 attempts against the Central Coast Mariners. He'd look to improve that strike rate. He's got the confidence of a match winner last week behind him. Perhaps that shows in some of the attempts he's already made today. Nisbet, little swivel in midfield. Switches direction of the game. Theoharis looks to switch it back. Angel Torres. Mariners very patient at the moment. Nisbet, great vision, sees Storm Roux breaking down the right. Tucks it inside, Theoharis. Roux, through traffic it goes. Wilson on the snapshot and saved by Izzo. To deny Qual, there was a foul already though. Bit of sacrificial defending. Izzo's down and hurt. As is Damien De Silva, as is Fabian Monge, I should say. The key is that the ball stayed out of the net.
Well, it's another prime opportunity for the Mariners. Good choice of pass there from Storm Roux, gets the return favour. Again, another kind deflection, and it's good goalkeeping once more from Paul Izzo. He's come out to close the space really well, smothered the shot. He's been caught as a result, and, well, that one is going to hurt for Izzo.
What about Monge? Because it appears as though the foul was for Wilson. The follow-through, kicking the body of Monge. He's up, he's okay. Is that a foul, in your opinion, Grace?
I'd have to take another look at it. Teo focusing first on the save and the build-up from the Mariners.
While this treatment takes place, Glenn Lauder, sideline.
Yeah, Christian Siciliano is Melbourne Victory's reserve goalkeeper. He's just walked past me on the sideline. Hopefully for the Victory and Paul Izzo, he won't be needed, but Christian Siciliano just said to his substitutes, that happened to me yesterday. So the poor old Melbourne Victory goalkeepers are in the wars, whether it's at training or in the game. There he is warming up now, but Paul Izzo is back on his feet and he's going to get us back underway.
Thank you, Glenn. Yeah, we just saw the 20-year-old Siciliano there, yet to make his A-League men's debut. Joined the Victory Academy out of Hume City, named familiar to many from their exploits in the old FFA Cup and the now Australia Cup. Full complement is restored for the Victory. Monge and Izzo both up and running. And after another warning from the Mariners, Victory want to go about reasserting some control on general play, almost a quarter of the way through today's action. Here's Falami, turned right into trouble. He's got Mashash in support. Falami, return ball, and through comes Ballard, conceding a corner. And that combination of Falami and Mashash is starting to work together more and more as the game goes on.
Yeah, 20 minutes into this one, and you just see Melbourne Victory, well, when they've got their foot on the ball, they're so good in those tight spaces, combination play in the final third. And Mashash, ever the willing runner for this Melbourne Victory side.
So this was the final touch. No disputing it. Ballard last to play it as it goes out, and there's a short corner plan here between Falami and Arzani. Arzani with a bending cross, and Kaltak launched himself into the header. Falami. Mariners knew that he wanted to cut inside on that occasion. Arzani, space to swing in a ball, but it's not overly threatening as it bounces through for a goal kick.
Well, he had his arms out in questioning after that delivery to Daniel Arzani, asking where the runners were on the end of it. Idea was right on the cross, perhaps a little narrow. Couldn't find a Melbourne Victory shirt, nor did it trouble Vukovic in goal.
The setup here is for the short goal kick. It's been taken by an outfielder. Melbourne Victory deciding not to press Danny Vukovic though. leisurely walking pace up to the edge of the box. And now, Melbourne Victory engage, and Economides starts chasing the ball. Again, Vukovic just trying to lure as many Victory players in as he can. High wire act from the Mariners here. Farrell, probing ball down the line, and held Torres. Silva volleys away. Commanded the ball, but Monge was right on his case, winning it back for Victory. Mashash runs a heavy challenge. Teague. Popovic gesticulating from the sideline, pointing where he wants the runners to move. As the ball switches out to the right. Arzani. See an opening that he liked. It's a little bit ponderous at the moment. De Silva. So he wanted to find an opening. He's going to try and brute force it here with a long diagonal ball, asking a lot of Mashash, and Mashash had run offside. Both teams showing themselves to be extremely patient in possession at the moment.
Yeah, patient in possession as well. The defensive shape set up really tightly. Again, Victory with a good spell of possession, just trying to find a way to pick apart what was a well-organised Mariners defence.
How proactive will Central Coast be here? Back to the centre of defence they go. Nisbet in a tangle, and eventually the whistle comes through for a foul decision. A yellow card out of the pocket for Damien De Silva. Well, that is interesting, because it was a bit of a later whistle as the referee just watched it all unfold.
That was a kick away from De Silva after Nisbet had placed the ball to look to play that free kick quickly, and De Silva just with a cheeky little poke away of the ball, slow things down, and ultimately picks himself up tactical yellow card for his efforts.
Joins Fabian Monge in the book for Melbourne Victory. Here's Theoharis holding off Roderick Miranda. And the throw in goes Victory's way. Theoharis argues his case. Shanked by Economides, but it's going to work out to Falami. Mashash slipped at the key moment. Nisbet attempting to capitalise. Nisbet feeds it through. Wilson sees Qual in the middle. A driving cross, it just exploded off his boots. Perhaps in his attempts to get to the ball, and explains the force with which he has almost cleared that on Victory's behalf.
Yeah, a little overzealous on that occasion from Will Wilson. But otherwise, what was a good smothering attempt in the middle of the park from the Mariners just to regain possession.
Mashash. Falami, a high, awkward ball to control, and Theoharis comes in and monsters him, gives away a free kick in the process. Tony Popovic, move is the instruction, and you can see he's not happy with, perhaps at times, the pedestrian speed of the game. There's another look at the foul. Who do you think's actually dictating the slowdowns here? It seems as though maybe it's Mariners' choice more so than Victory's.
It's a bit of an arm wrestle at the moment. Both teams having little passages of possession and then just not quite that final quality of the pass, that final point of execution.
Set piece opportunity to mix it up. Arzani, Roderick Miranda, last man in the line of players, couldn't steer it back towards the target, and Jacob Farrell continues to be a magnet to fouls. He wins another free kick.
There's been no shortage of those in the first half. Not much in the one that we see there from Roderick Miranda.
He's already got his central defensive partner, Damien De Silva, I should say. Imagine if it was Danny De Silva. Damien De Silva on a yellow card. Here is the aforementioned De Silva. He's been beaten in the air illegally here by Alu Kuol. Victory are arguing it should be a yellow card, and indeed the referee obliges. So cards are now starting to come out on a regular basis here, and that aerial duel results in the Melbourne Victory man being felled.
Damien De Silva staying on the ground as we get another look at it. Both players undoubtedly eyes for the ball, but just the raised arm of Alu Kuol, as we see there, just the arm flailing through, and of course no malice intended by that. Kuol did have eyes on the ball, but nonetheless has knocked De Silva square in the face.
So a yellow card issued as a result. Kuol's never been sent off in his A-League men's career, but he was sent off for Sandhausen. He was playing in Germany. That was back in April of 2022. Able to skip down the line, good control of the ball. Left-footed cross finds Arzani. Arzani deflected high, still needs clearing though, and Victory through Economidis. Keep the attack going. Valami finds Arzani again. Two side steps. And then the attempted Rabona cross is blocked away. Just opened up the bag of tricks there, Daniel Arzani, but not able to find a teammate. The end result is a Mariners throw.
Well, after what was some pretty fanciful footwork, which we know Daniel Arzani is so capable of, perhaps just tries to give that one a little too much.
Oh no, he gave that the right amount. It just needed to find a teammate. Pretty inspired stuff from Daniel Arzani. Sort of thing that might spark the Victory up. Mariners, after some physical defending here from Connor Chapman, will have themselves a throw.
Well, Arzani's such a technical player. We saw moments earlier as well, taking a touch and facing forward in really the same motion, just the kind of thing that is drilled into young players these days. And Arzani, well, he displays that technique all the time.
Mashash just had to drag the ball under his control. Apprehension in the Mariners' defence. Economidis goes down. Penalty. Well, the Central Coast defence collectively fell asleep, and Chris Economidis stole in, won the ball, and has won a spot kick.
Well, it was ball watching by the Mariners. All care, no responsibility. And a little bit of miscommunication too about who exactly was going to deal with this ball here. The challenge has come in too late. Took a little deflection just off the toe of Farrell, and Dan Hall tries to get the ball, no doubt about it. It's collected Economidis on the way down.
So Dan Hall's foul on Chris Economidis sends Daniel Arzani to the penalty spot. 1 goal this season against Sydney FC. It's his 9th appearance against the Mariners today. He's never scored against them. Danny Vukovic waits on the line. He doesn't have the crowd behind him, Arzani, as boos ring around the stadium. He silences them with a goal. And the travelling Victory fans are all that can be heard around Allianz as Victory strike first in Unite round. Daniel Arzani's penalty makes it Victory 1, Mariners 0.
Well, it's a neatly dispatched penalty. Daniel Arzani, he looks in form today, and on the Harvey Norman replay, a little stutter step, and easy as you like into the bottom corner. Danny Vukovic picked it, but too much pace, too much precision about the pass, and that is well taken from Arzani.
He's not a prolific scorer in the A-League men's. It is just his 5th career goal in game number 55. Of course, he opened his A-League men's account for Melbourne City with a penalty kick. He's been trusted from the penalty spot at a young age, and now entering the prime years of his career, Daniel Arzani has his 2nd of the campaign. Crucially, Melbourne Victory have a 1-0 lead and the chance to just break themselves a little bit further clear of the Sydney Wanderers and the Wellington Phoenix. And as things stand, they would be putting a big dent in the Central Coast Mariners charge up the ladder. Plenty of this game still to play out. Can the Mariners get an instant response? De Silva protects the ball away from Qual.
Well, after a cagey start, it feels as though a goal was exactly what this game needed, just to set it alight. A bit more energy about it now as the shade just creeps over the field, and that will cool conditions down on the pitch. Tony Popovic, he'll be pleased if his side can hold on to this 1-0 lead going into half-time.
Wilson ran out of space against the sideline. Back to Izzo. Theoharis draws Rue up the pitch, but Victory have got their defence set. And Guerrier out of a tangle, not able to win possession for his team. Mariners throw. Just over 10 minutes of regulation until half-time. And I think you're spot on, Grace. The goal now might change the complexion of the game in a way that sees it become a bit more lively as far as both teams attacking rather than both teams being very patient. Onus on Mariners to go and generate the response, and that's what they are going about trying to do. Hall. Rue. Torres calls for the ball over on the left. Breaking ahead of the ball for him, though, to bide his time here. And eventually Nisbet made a run, but he attracted a couple of midfield tags with him, and now the ball is given away. Teague has to go and reset with his goalkeeper.
Ryan Teague's been excellent in the middle of the park for Victory, not only today but this season. Such a young player with such a measured head.
Some willing challenges, both aerial and on the ground, flying in. Rue, one possession. And now Torres is clipped by Connor Chapman on the way through. Good awareness there from Torres because he knew he was going to get kicked. And he protected the ball in a way that allowed him to win the free kick.
Yeah, smart from Torres. Knew that Chapman was streaming in behind him. Just got a little toe in, and Chapman, well, couldn't find his brakes. It's a difficult range for a free kick. Not shooting range exactly, but you'd be looking for a delivery into a dangerous area. Just something that will put hesitation into Izzo's mind.
Torres asking a lot of Rue here, and the ball does roll out. Tony Popovic, who knows his team's in front. He's walked right up to the edge of the pitch, and he's absolutely blowing up at his team here. Clearly not happy that Mariners have been able to seize back control of general play after Victory scored the goal. Errant pass here. Will Wilson. Can he capitalise? Wilson! Well, Tony Popovic was onto it. He knew that his team was switching off, but Will Wilson wasn't able to make them pay.
Well, With moments like that, that can be the difference makers in a football game, and Royal Wilson was very nearly handed a gift there. Still had a bit of work to do with it, but ultimately the shot does not trouble Izzo in the slightest.
The sixth sense of a coach there, wasn't it, from Popovic, to know that his team was starting to lag and they didn't heed his warning. Roderick Miranda, sweeping diagonal ball. Chapman, great first touch out of the sky. Can't thread it through to Arzani. Farrell has to hurry, collapses to the ground, and he wins another foul. And the little pocket of Mariners fans in the Yellow Army are right underneath where that foul took place. Plenty to say. Here's the table as it stands. Victory would be breaking at 5 points clear. Wellington play Perth later this weekend. Of course, Melbourne City already defeated by Western Sydney Wanderers last night at CommBank Stadium. Central Coast, well, they have the rest of this game to change how that picture looks. Caltac. Wilson often chasing. De Silva set himself. And support in the form of Chapman. Izzo. Farrell. Tough ball to bring under control for Nisbet. Arzani found Economidis. Dispossessed by Farrell. Nisbet's away. Heard the call of Theoharis in the middle. Theoharis, he wants his left side. He telegraphed it and held Torres similar, and he's just shooting on side. Well, see there, Christian Theoharis, the lack of trust in his right foot on that occasion, it really limited his options once he received that pass.
So perhaps just needed a bit more width there. The Central Coast Mariners, Storm Roo, well, he was on his bike trying to create that for Theoharis, but at that point in time, the Mariners just a little skinny. Having these moments where they do look to play on the counter quickly, but needing the numbers in the right positions.
They have taken over territorial control of the game. They turn it into shots on goal. More meaningful ones, dangerous ones. Something to test Paul Izzo. Melbourne Victory, the loose ends are still appearing on a regular basis as they give the ball away here. You wouldn't know they're the team in front if you were watching the play rather than the scoreboard at the moment. Melbourne Victory. Caltac. Nisbet. High degree of difficulty as he slipped between the lines, but Torres with energy has won the ball back for the Mariners. Theoharis dispossessed by Teague. Theoharis, and the referee's whistle does put an end to the contest. Mid-range free kick for the Central Coast.
Yeah, look, that's twice in as many minutes that the Central Coast have broken forward and just not had that outlet out wide. Largely for the fact that Falami's playing so high and pulling Storm Roo back. If that wasn't the case, then Roo would have a little bit more freedom out on his attacking flank. But 2 times now, Theoharis has got the ball centrally and really struggled to find a pass.
Alu Paul, the obvious aerial target here at the set piece. Torres lifts it right into the pack and beyond the pack of players out for a goal kick.
Good contest at the far post. Farrell and Falami just grappling for the ball.
See Central Coast set up right at the edge of the penalty area to try and press this restart of play. Referee saying to Paul Izzo, you've had long enough, make a decision. The decision is to go for distance. Arzani can't keep it in.
Hand force there by the Mariners. Stepping up right on the edge of the 18-yard box. The long ball. Can't find a victory shirt.
Dan Hall, centre back, venturing forward. Roo, we've seen him in this position before. And the header improvised from Paul after it just crept over the head of Roderick Miranda, but it's well wide of the goal.
And that's better from the Central Coast Mariners, and you see there when they can get Storm Roux out wide and pull the field. There was an arm in the air for offside appealing, but it's a great delivery. It's just evaded the head of Roderick Miranda. But with a bit more width, the Mariners look dangerous when they get in those crossing positions.
Time perhaps their enemy as we tick towards the break. Melbourne victory, if they score here, it really would be against the run of play. Arzani scythed down at the edge of the box. Free kick in a dangerous position.
It's a good move from Arzani. And again, just that trademark drop of the shoulder, driving in on his left foot. His first couple of steps, it's great acceleration. Bit of a clumsy challenge there from Kaltak, just leaving that leg dangling out behind him. Great position for a free kick.
It's a little lucky to escape without a yellow card, Brian Kaltak.
Yeah, perhaps on that occasion.
Arzani is up to take the free kick, which his run was able to win. Here's the delivery. Oh, a couple of headers sliding back and forth. It was pinball in the penalty area. Paul's header initially caught a number of players off balance. And all's well that ends well for the Central Coast as it tails out for a goal kick.
Oh, that is such a good delivery from Arzani. Great shape on a whipped-in cross just between the line of the defenders, the oncoming attackers, and Danny Vukovic.
Jason Guerrier has 2 goals in 171 A-League appearances, so as the last player to touch that before it went out, it's more on a hope than anything. Element of surprise though, probably wasn't expecting it to skim off Paul's head the way it did. Here is Guerrier now at ground level. Economidis dispossessed by Ballard. Wilson committed to the ball, and now Qual. He's got Torres breaking for him at speed. He just bides his time. Nutmegs the referee as he finds Farrell. Farrell has got Arzani for company, and Arzani wins the show of strength. Monch. And everything is calmed down in an instant by that defensive backtracking from Daniel Arzani. It might just turn defence into attack. Falami. Arzani to his right, and that's where he goes. Economidis calls for the ball in the middle. Falami waxing with Arzani. Chapman. Teague. Now broken play. As players start to go back to their more noticeable positions. Everyone resets. 3 additional minutes we've ticked into at the end of the first half. Economidis. And as that goes out for a goal kick, what do you think the halftime team talk will be from Mark Jackson?
Well, I think it's going to have to be about capitalising on their opportunities. The Central Coast Mariners haven't been without their chances. Some gilt-edged ones as well. And Victory, a very good team defensively. In fact, they've not lost a game when scoring first. So that puts the Mariners in a very difficult position for this next 45 minutes. But they have to find the back of the net when they do get their chances.
Guerrier able to get the better of Qual. Roderick Miranda. Farrell isolated one-on-one against Arzani. First 2 touches for Farrell, and then in a tangle against the line. Free kick goes Farrell's way. Arzani protests his innocence. By my count, he has won 5 fouls in this half alone. Jacob Farrell.
Well, he's clever. He just invites the contact through his back, and Arzani on a few occasions now, there's not a huge amount in it, but you can't deny his arms are over the shoulder there of Farrell, and when you've got a player facing back towards their own goal, there's no need for it.
That takes us to halfway through the allocated 3 minutes. Nisbet willing to take a risk in his own penalty area. And now Theoharis looks to capitalise. Torres. Is this the Mariners' best at the end of the first half? Cleared away by Roderick Miranda. And now Arzani gets the better of Farrell. Economidis calls for the diag, and here it comes. Off the chest of Economidis. Stops and props. goes for glory and puts it just over the bar. And Chris Economidis nearly finished this first half with a sensational goal.
Well, that wasn't far off at all, was it? A beautiful diagonal switch from Arzani. Nice drop of the shoulder too from Economidis. Just over the crossbar.
Hasn't scored since November of 2022. His last goal against the Mariners, of course, lives long in the memory of Victory fans because it was the Australia Cup final goal back in February of that same year. And now it's Victory's turn to finish the first half of the bang. Economidis close a moment ago. Now trying to turn provider. Arzani will challenge. Farrell won the header. Farrell won the foul. And Daniel Arzani is going to be called over here by Ben Abraham. And here's Victory's goal scorer about to join a couple of his teammates in the book. Diplomacy to a chorus of boos as first half stoppage time expires.
There looks to be quite a civil conversation taking place between the two, but 5 fouls. You mentioned now that Farrell's won in the first half alone.
It's been a bit of a tetchy game like that. 18 total fouls in the first half. One of them sent Victory to the penalty spot, where Daniel Arzani dispatched the spot kick, and that is the difference between the two teams at half-time. Dan Hall committing the foul on Chris Economidis. And even though Arzani is protesting his case at the end of the first half, it is his goal which separates the two sides. Mariners in need of a response. Victory in control, unbeaten season, still on track and intact, at least halfway through this one. Central Coast Mariners 0, Melbourne Victory 1.
Venues, conditions of entry, including provisions relating to security screening and transportation. Flares are illegal in our venues. If you possess or throw a flare, there are severe penalties that do apply. Any spectator identified with a prohibited item or refuse entry could be the stadium, potentially banned from attending future matches and handed over to the police for further questioning. A financial fine will also be issued. We ask you respect your fellow spectators by refraining from illegal game businesses.
The global phenomenon, Gladiators, is back. Australia's toughest competitors taking on our Gladiator champions. It's epic family fun. Gladiators premieres January 15 on 10 and 10 platforms.
All right, footy fans, let's kick off the halftime break and welcome our Maccas halftime heroes this afternoon. They come from the Thornley Thunder FC and Ponga
Sydney's newest stadium. We're all lucky to be here, so why not take advantage of our luck with a chance at massive wins from huge international lotteries? You know, like those mega American ones, the massive European ones, or even the hugely popular Italian one. The lottery office is 100% Aussie owned and operated, and our millions of Aussie wins so far. Never know, someone here might just be Australia's next mega multi-millionaire. Plus, we're offering all visitors of Allianz Stadium, which means each and every one of you a free ticket when you sign up to that. A chance of winning from massive international lotteries for free. Well played. Visit lotteryoffice.com.au/stadium today.
Hey, so what is your favourite or best tobacco bus? There you go. Right, that's just like it, do it again. Yeah. The resemblance. Is that a little bit of a screaming face, is it? It's screaming face emoji? Oh, that's a surprise face? Shocked, that's it.
This year's Alex Tobin Medal is brought to you by Isuzu Ute, awarded to the best player of the season as nominated by the Paramount ANZ football team. The winner of the prestigious award will receive $10,000. Plus, the Isuzu Ute Alex Tobin medalist will nominate a junior football club of choice to win a brand new, top-of-the-range Isuzu D-Max or 7-seat MUX to be announced during the grand final. To stay in touch with the leaderboard, tune in for weekly updates at your home of football.
Don't forget you can join your fellow Aussies in a brand new live side in the entertainment corner tonight. Watch the mighty Socceroos take on India in the first game of their ANC Asian Cup campaign. It all kicks off 10:30 p.m.
Welcome to Sydney. Open spaces. Open arms. Open all night.
Liberty Home Loans hit different. They're for the free thinkers, the go-getters, the creatives. So if you're a free thinker, you'll be right at home.
Now Canberra, can they break quickly here? Flunnery looks to find Heyman and does so. Michelle Heyman, one-on-one with the keeper! There's the 100! Michelle Heyman equalises for Canberra. Well, in 2008, she was a youngster with a dream, riding the wave of the first season of this competition, and now she has conquered it. Michelle Heyman, take a bow. Well,
Please welcome back on the pitch for the second half, the Central Coast Mariners.
Welcome back to Allianz Stadium. Unite round continuing. It's been full of goals on your Saturday afternoon across all the venues. Just the one here. Melbourne Victory 1, Central Coast Mariners 0. Grace Gill, former Matilda, former teammate of Michelle Heyman. Very convenient that Michelle Heyman chose the halftime break of this one to score both her 100th and 101st A-League goals. Just a quick thought on what you've seen before we launch back into this one.
Oh, well, what an occasion for Michelle Heyman, been in the competition since day dot, and what a finish too to put her team in front. A remarkable achievement.
Melbourne Victory have made a sub here at halftime. Fabian Monch, who did pick up a very early yellow card, is off, and after missing the game in Perth through illness, Jake Brimmer returns to the Isuzu Ute A-League men's. And in this second half, we will see Melbourne Victory try to continue their unbeaten start to the campaign. Central Coast in desperate need of a response as they kick off here at Allianz, trailing thanks to Daniel Arzani's penalty kick. Grace, interesting change. Fabian Monge did pick up that card very early in the first half, just 7 minutes in. Got himself to the halftime break, but now Tony Popovic wants to reintegrate Jake Brimmer to his team.
Yeah, well, I understand the change at his best. We know Jake Brimmer is absolute quality. Solid player in the middle of the park for Tony Popovic, and perhaps just a bit of a safety move as well with Fabian Monge nursing that yellow card.
Mariners unchanged. It was Dan Hall who gave away the penalty kick. And no foul here in midfield as Max Ballard takes over. Here's the shout from Christian Theoharis, who's able to spin away from Guerrier. He's got Teague giving him a bit of attention. Angel Torres, an underhit pass. And Damien De Silva will sweep through. Runs out of space though, so still a Mariners ball down in attack. So a lively minute of the second 45. The sun has now conceded to shadows as far as the playing surface is concerned. Here's Theoharis. Victory happy to show him the line. Theoharis wants his left peg. And decides against swinging in across. Ballard. Now Rue. Underhit. And a chance for Victory to intervene. Falami won it away. Guerrier. Dan Hall rises in the air. Mariners immediately take back over. Here's Angel Torres to Josh Nisbet. And then just tried to force the issue a little. Paul Izzo gets his first touch of the second 45.
Well, Nisbet knew straight away when he just tried to poke that ball through. Didn't quite get the weight of the pass right, and you can see the frustration on his face. Both teams playing fairly compact still. As you mentioned, that shadow just dropping over the field at Allianz. No doubt the temperature will drop for the afternoon too. I do think we'll see a little bit more of a lively second 45 minutes here.
Big 50-50. Damien De Silva and Will Wilson both spring back to their feet as well. Good clean football. Economidis, the man who won the penalty kick. Now Roderick Miranda. Brimmer. Involved in the game. Mashash. Chapman. Jacob Farrell. Happy to settle for a throw-in. Nisbet. Sold Theoharis into a bit of trouble because Guerrier was storming through. Theoharis goes and tries to win his own ball, and a free kick comes to his aid.
Josh Nisbet just so capable in those tight spaces. But Theoharis just has to check to receive the ball there. Victory have done well to pinch out and win it back, but ultimately swings and roundabouts as possession's back in the favour of the Mariners.
Just seen the Mariners team list appear across the foot of the screen. Is there a substitution you like the idea of, Grace, or are you happy enough to roll with the same 11 that started the game?
Well, I think for now the Mariners, what we saw from the first 45 minutes is that they are creating chances. It's really just about taking them when they're in the final third. Perhaps a player like Jing Reese could be an option off the bench to come on and inject some energy.
It's Falami. Can't win a free kick here. Economidis. Arzani waits at the edge of the box. Resumes his duel with Farrell. Arzani with a burst of speed. And is he able to win a corner for his team? He's not. He did run out of real estate. It's a goal kick.
Well, I think the question was, are you kidding? From Daniel Arzani. Again, the drop of the shoulder. There's 1-2 steps of acceleration. He was confident it was a corner. He did have Farrell beat on the occasion, but Farrell worked hard to try and keep pace.
It's been the standout duel of the game. Jacob Farrell tends to have an appetite for these things. Find the best creative player of the opposition and go and try to take them down. Speaking of creativity, how about that from Christian Theoharis? He's bowled over for his trouble. Play continues. And Theoharis has bounced back up himself. Everything slows down a little bit though for the Mariners and allows Victory's midfield and defence to set. Farrell. Now Angel Torres. Can the Mariners get him into a goal-scoring position off that wing? We know he can be deadly on even the most acute of angles. Brimmer found a way through to Mashash. Arzani's off and running on the right. Economidis in the middle. Arzani is where the ball goes. Arzani veers out of the penalty area. Brimmer and Nisbet become a master of knowing where to stand in order to intercept the ball. Qual goes to ground. Advantage given. Nisbet is the most advanced Mariners player. Waits for some runners to come to his aid. Theoharis is one of them. The run of Storm Rue, he was at top speed there and he was dragging Guerrier back with him, and it all became a little crowded. Clever from Dan Hall. Great clean challenge, and now Hall still going. Dan Hall. Qual crowded by Victory players. Nisbet. And the Mariners go back and reset with their defenders.
Just look at the shape for Victory, so compact. The distance between their defensive line and their strikers must be 20 metres, if that.
Theoharis, well, we know he's got dynamite in the boots, but the fuse didn't quite reach the booming point there.
That's what's forced the Mariners out wide. I was just talking about a compact shape from Victory in the middle of the park, so trying to stretch the field a little bit, use the wings.
After that shot, Tony Popovich was up to the edge of his technical area with a short, sharp barb for his team, and then immediately went and resumed his spot on the bench. Victory on the attack. Shot from distance from Economidis. Over the bar without troubling Danny Vukovic. So a busy first 7 minutes of the second half. Just the one substitution made by Victory, and that was Monge off for Brimmer at half-time. Farrell. Wilson. And trying to keep the tempo high has caused Victory to come unstuck. A little bit too overzealous, and now the Mariners have a throw, almost level with the penalty area. Go roaming. Rue picked his moments when to get forward in the first half. Theoharis. Farrell. And the defender Farrell still going. Decided to take the shot and straight into the shins of Connor Chapman, who puts it behind for a corner.
Mariners too just having to be a little patient in their attack up against a really compact Melbourne Victory defensive shape. Good opportunity for a corner to get some numbers up into the box. A good delivery at the end of this one.
As you can see, just the second corner of the game, and the Mariners first. Max Ballard is on corner taking duty. Mariners have populated beyond the far post here. Expect this one to have Paul Izzo reaching in the air. Up it goes. Izzo didn't even reach. It's headed away by Guerrier. Showed us what was coming, the Mariners, and the Victory had an answer. Theoharis stops to a standstill. Lots of pointing going on in the Victory defence as they try to cover all their bases. And Mashash says, no need to worry, lads. I'm going to defend from the front. And he's not able to launch a counter-attack here as the pass lets down the endeavour. Let's check in down at pitch level. Glenn Lauder rejoins us.
Yeah, he almost put me through down the right-hand side there, did Zinedine Mashash, so we just wait for a break in play, and Melbourne Victory might be forced to the substitutes bench again over the next couple of minutes. But we did see at half-time, as you say, the substitution with Fabien Monge going off. He had an ankle injury in the first half, so Melbourne Victory were hoping that he could play through until half-time. He was able to do so, and unfortunately couldn't get through any further in that first half. So Ryan Teague will keep an eye on what happens to him. I spoke to Arthur Dillers at half-time, and he basically said that the Victory need to trust their processes because they're going to expect the Mariners to come at them in the second half. And we did see as you and Grace have touched on. The Mariners had some really good opportunities in that first half. Alu Kuol with a couple. Will Wilson shot at Paul Izzo as well. And no surprise for the Central Coast Mariners, Mark Jackson wants his side to take their opportunities when they arise. And I think that's something that Grace identified as well. So she mentioned Jing Reese on the bench, and also Dylan Wenzel-Halls, who we haven't seen for a while for the Central Coast Mariners. Hasn't featured since round 4. So following the departure of Marco Tullio, and the fact that he has scored plenty of the Mariners' goals this season, maybe Dylan Wenzel-Halls could find a way back into this Central Coast Mariners team as I said, Ryan Teague makes his way gingerly towards the sideline, Teo.
Yeah, not great for Melbourne victory. Ryan Teague is off. The assessment is that he's got to be subbed out, and Rai Marchand comes on. Grace, this will change how the victory midfield works.
Yeah, for sure, and not an anticipated substitution, no doubt, and a shame to see the end of Ryan Teague's afternoon. As I mentioned in the first half, he's really measured on the ball for a young player, just 21 years old. Pulls the strings there, so that's disappointing. I hope that injury is nothing too serious for him, and maybe some fresh legs earlier than expected for Tony Popovic.
Foul here. Victory will be hoping for no drop-off in intensity. All their subs were warming up when Ryan Teague went down, so Rai Marchand coming in for victory's sake. They'll be hoping nice and warm. Here's Farrell. Sets Angel Torres a task, and he is able to get to the ball first. However, it is offside. Flag goes up.
Disappointing there for Angel Torres. His body language when he loses possession or doesn't quite get the timing of the run right, it's disappointment. He's just imploring on that occasion Farrell to hit that delivery a little earlier. But he has full sight of the line. Staying out wide here.
There's a look at Allianz Stadium. Of course, one of 2 games coming up. It's part of Unite Round, all roads leading to Sydney. Nisbet. A little dink to Wilson, who waited for the ball to arrive and then hugged the line. And then ran out of space. Wilson playing just his 18th A-League game today, the 22-year-old. One of the victories set up for quite a number of years. Guerrier, Arzani, and ultimately not able to find space was Falami. Nisbet. Farrell starting to get forward a lot more for the Mariners. Not much going on in the penalty area for him, though. Mashash against Nisbet. Torres bundled over, and a free kick for the Central Coast. A little bonus here for them with a wide set piece to try and perhaps launch an aerial attack. They opt against it, played quickly, much to the surprise of some. Kuol, still a high ball, he's got to go and chase, and he's fouled. Damien De Silva here. Of course, those two are both on a yellow card from the first half.
Damien De Silva, his key at the back for victory alongside Roderick Miranda. It's a centre-half pairing and partnership between their experience and their leadership. What they bring to this side undoubtedly is so important to the setup of this team.
Rai Marchand. Guerrier. Falami dispossessed. Thea Harris. Kuol coughs up the ball in a potentially dangerous area. Brimmer sets Mashash away, and he quickly defers sideways. Brimmer. De Silva. Alzani has made width over on the right. Chapman working with Arzani. Trying for the underneath pass, hooked away by Wilson. And De Silva, plenty of trust that Roderick Miranda was unopposed. Now the Victory fans are just starting to find their voice and encourage their team along here. 1-0 lead in pocket as we tick up to the hour mark. Farrell leaps into an aerial duel against Connor Chapman, and that is going to run out ultimately for a goal kick, which gives us the chance to go down to Glenn Lauder for an update on Ryan Teague.
Yeah, thanks, Teo. Thankfully for the Melbourne Victory, it doesn't look particularly serious. He is holding that ice pack on his left knee. It's actually just below his left knee. The doctor was checking out maybe the top of his calf, where he copped a pretty heavy whack on the outside of his leg. So not too much concern for Ryan Teague. Adama Traore is incidentally getting ready as well for the Victory, but there he is, Dylan Wenzel-Halls, his first appearance for the Mariners since round 4. He has got 3 goals in 12 games against Melbourne Victory, and that is his second best record against any A-League club. So could Dylan Wenzel-Halls mark his return with a goal?
Thank you to Glenn Lauder down on the sideline. So, as we heard, expect more action off the bench, but the Mariners have seen enough from Will Wilson. On comes Wenzel-Halls. But Melbourne Victory, their first act is to try and probe forward. So, Grace, what do you make of that substitution?
Yeah, unsurprisingly so, given Wenzel-Hall's success and the joy that he's experienced against exactly this team in Melbourne Victory. He'll be playing with confidence and wanting to prove himself here. Torres
wins a free kick right on the edge of shooting range too. Romain Marchand protests his innocence. And of course, no more Marco Tullio. So let's see who's taking over set-piece duties for the Mariners. And there's even a hint that they can shoot from range.
Just see there the foul on Torres. Just that clip to the back heel, no doubt about it. Didn't have options running off either side. Wenzel-Halls was tearing forward.
Angel Torres and Max Ballard are the 2 players over the free kick. Paul Izzo shouting at his defence as the free kick is swung in. Kaltak couldn't quite stretch out and rein the ball in. Kaltak with 2 goals this season against Macarthur and Western United.
It's a right delivery from Ballard. A tough one to get to the end of. Just there's not much space to operate in behind that defensive line, and certainly Kaltak just steering into an offside position. Idea was right there though.
Gary. Jake Bremer. Flows down by Qual. Victory fans amusing themselves at the moment. So they're actually chanting and pointing away from the pitch at present. This might have them spin back around. So Kaltak gets the ball first before Chapman. And well, he cleverly wins a goal kick. Could have come unstuck in any number of ways, but he's good enough here.
Oh, he's done well there, Kaltak. Just protecting that one over the line and providing the touch from Chapman. Still plenty of football to be played here, and the Mariners desperate for a response. In a sense, there just needs to be a little bit more urgency.
Yep, grunt from Jake Bremer there as he was collected by Christian Theoharis. Quite sportingly in to apologise. For all the fouls and for all the bookings, there hasn't been too much spite in the game. It seems as though there haven't been any long memories. Patrick Zvansvijk, of course, now is the head coach of Manly United in the NPL. It's a Mariners legend and a club favourite, enjoying Unite round, as are many. Leaving run initially from Palami, but he wasn't able to fire a shot, and it's booted away by Vukovic. Interesting that Vukovic just stood his ground, used his feet. Danger not yet averted. Palami, Guerrier, deflecting through to Economides, cuts it back to Mishash, blocked away. Arzani, as the entire Mariners defence descends upon him. He wasn't able to free his feet in time. Throw in. centimetres. Raised heart rates in the Mariners' defence, but they are able to prevail with possession briefly. Wenzel Halls challenging De Silva. And ultimately, the call goes the Mariners' way. It was a hectic little 10 seconds there for the Mariners' defence to deal with.
Yeah, a few manic moments there in the goal mouth. Arzani had time to get a shot away, took a touch, laboured on it for just a moment too long.
And there is preparation going on for Game 2 in this doubleheader here at Allianz Stadium as part of United round. Adelaide United against Sydney FC. Stay with us. Paramount Plus. And that promises to be a fascinating contest. How much of Adelaide learned from last time they played against Sydney FC when they were rocked with a flurry of goals in Tale's first game. Two young, exciting teams. If this result holds, certainly crucial for both of them just to try and latch on to the upper echelons of the table. Sydney and Adelaide starting the round on 15 points. Melbourne Victory, as things stand, would be on 26, breaking 5 clear at the top of the league. Farrell. Theoharis wants to break left and use that left peg, and Connor Chapman didn't let him use it effectively. Arzani from deep in defence. Blocked by Farrell. Wenzel Halls. Force a pass that maybe wasn't there. Falami. Wenzel Halls scragged, and Raimar Shan gives away a free kick.
Meanwhile, on the near touchline for a moment there, it was opposition coach and Mark Jackson going to help Arzani stretch out a cramp. I don't see that happen too often.
Well, the ball is live as this continues. Arzani is still down. His goalkeeper, Paul Izzo, will collapse to the floor, and now perhaps Victory will discuss contingency plans here to get Arzani treated. Izzo has now noticed what's going on. That's a replay of what was initially happening. The opposition coach just taking over the stretching before the fitness crew arrived.
Well, sportsmanship at its finest, but Arzani hasn't got back up to his feet. This moment here just went to ground immediately, stretching out that right hammy.
Well, the game is unashamedly drifting at the moment. The onus is entirely on the Central Coast to make the running, but how comfortable can Victory feel with only the 1-goal buffer between the teams at the moment?
Well, it never feels particularly comfortable when you've just got that 1 goal in the way of a lead, but in terms of the way that they've defended this game so far, Tony Popovic, I think by large in part can be quite comfortable with the quality. I've mentioned it a couple of times. The shape's been really compact. Central Coast have struggled to play through the middle of the Victory.
Will Daniel Arzani's number be coming up? Nishan Vilupale is standing next to the 4th official, as is Adama Traore, getting some last-second instructions from the boss. And we are about to learn who is making way. Connor Chapman is coming off for Adama Traore. And Ben Falami is coming off for Nishan Vilupale. Or is he? No, they've changed the number at the last second. So Arzani's number 19 does go up, and it's a reprieve for Ben Falami. So to confirm those subs, Vilupale and Traore on, Chapman and Arzani off. There is Connor Chapman sitting next to Ryan Teague, who will be a watch this space for how serious that upper calf injury is.
And number 14, Connor Chapman, who off.
Vilupale on and determined to show what he can do. He is one of the main creators for the Victory this season. Brimmer. Vilupale. Mashash. It's all stationary in the penalty area. Players just standing and waiting for someone to emerge with a potential cross. Mishash teasing with the ball. Velupale almost into the path of Falami. So getting into the final 20 minutes. De Silva stands tall with a header. As we see picture in picture that last little attack with Mishan Velupale's first creative involvement off the bench. Here's Caltac. After much pondering, he feeds the ball out to the left, where Theoharis and Wenzel Halls lay in wait. Theoharis collapses to the ground. He's been able to lure in Rai Marchand for a free kick.
He really likes inviting those 1v1 challenges, Theoharis. On that occasion, he does get the better of Marchand, and you see Arzani gingerly just limping to the sideline, doesn't look to be too comfortable.
A goal here, and it could be set for a final 20 minutes in stark contrast to the previous 70. It's been a lot more ebb than flow. Equaliser here might just spark this game to life. Torres, awkward free kick, and Izzo is first to respond before Wenzel Halls could run into the path of the ball.
It's a great delivery on that free kick. Almost inch perfect. Izzo did really well to come and collect.
Traore. Rai Marchand. Velupale to Mishash. Hits the outside. Velupale wanted the return ball. Farrell wasn't letting that happen. Free kick taken quickly. Hall. Underhit pass though from Torres. Victory take over possession. Marchand. Falami. Now Mishash. Has to put his head down and just burrow forward. Traore fresh legs off the bench. Economidis entangled with Caltac, who won the ball away. Now Torres. To Nisbet. Victory still have a player down. Economidis is stretching down next to Danny Vukovic. Mariners aren't going to stop play for that. So for now, they have a player advantage. Economidis is back on his feet, but still a good 40 metres offside as things currently stand. Theoharis squares it. Torres. Wenzel Halls has made an unmarked run, and it's blocked away. Good body position from De Silva. Economidis has finally got himself back up to a jog, and he's rejoined to make it 11v11. Farrell. Oh, a bit of a wild thrust at the ball. Showed a lot of it to Mishash, who is down. Advantage is given for the foul, and Victory are away through Falami. Falami's early ball. Caltac has to hook it clear out for a throw. And now Zinedine Mishash might need some treatment. Yellow card for the lunge by Jacob Farrell.
Troubling signs for Tony Popovic's side here. Jason Guerra, he's struggling. Mishash, he stayed to ground. A couple of moments ago we saw Economidis going into cramp too. Super experienced defending by De Silva.
So everyone back to their feet. Brimmer. Marchand. just biding his time, controlling the tempo of the game. Now Falami with space to work in. Ben Falami accelerating. Traore getting forward. And Adama Traore goals are very much collector's items. Today's game number 215 of his career. He has found the back of the net 4 times.
Just a bit of frustration there from Melbourne Victory players. Arms in the air. Traore just leaning back slightly when he hit that. He's always rising. A few Victory players just starting to look fatigued out there. Get another look picture in picture. He had options in the box, but you can see just stabbed at that cross.
Harris trying to test some of those tiring players. Cross is deflected away kindly though. Carrier, now Brimmer, Mashash. Looks up at Farrell, who is now on a card. Nisbet attempting to extract the ball, and Ramashan is happy to just sweep it out. Well, it's the Mariners who have to make the play here. This is their own time that's ticking on the clock. Of apprehension though. Eventually the ball is back line. Now a free kick, so not much ventured, not much gain. Mariners go back 5 metres and win themselves a dead ball.
This is a period of the game that the Mariners have a lot of success in. Love scoring goals in the final 15 minutes, but it's risk-reward for the Mariners. It's also the period in which they've conceded the most. So you imagine they'll start to bomb numbers forward, maybe play a little bit more direct. Try and exploit some of the fatigue we're seeing come into some of these Victory players. Mr. Kotomides, before today, he hasn't played this many minutes across the course of the season.
And yet, not much activity on the Victory bench. Caltac, long diagonal ball, finds its way to Torres. Torres blazing into the box, and safety first defending puts the ball behind for a corner.
Yeah, experienced defending there. Great switch from Caltac to Silva. So often he's called upon. Just smart, considered, well-timed challenge.
Mariners in the penalty area for this one. And Hill Torres gives the signal. Outswinging corner, headed away by Mashash. Ballard. Back to Torres. Wenzel Halls back to goal. Ballard. Wants Caltac in the air, but not much power behind the header. Safe hands from Paul Izzo.
So often have been for Paul Izzo. Remember too, a former Mariner himself, Izzo, against his former side today, but he's looked well assured at the back.
Ramashan wheels himself onto the ball. Brimmer. Velupale, great first touch. He engages Farrell immediately. Velupale. Farrell went to ground and timed it nicely. The ball plugs in the turf and stays in. Anel Torres. It's got the length of the pitch to go. He's off and racing. Deflection here will bring Paul Izzo into play.
Looked to be a good move from the Mariners. Ultimately a little straight on that final delivery, and Paul Izzo came off his line to collect.
Brimmer. Mashash right up with the last man. Flag stays down. Send it in Mashash. He tried to brute force her way through, blocked. And you can see the power with which he hit that shot, because it's left Ryan Caltack considerably worse for wear.
It's not too often you see Caltack go to ground and stay there. Got a breath of offside about it. And retreating Caltack. It's just a stray foot from the outstretched Mushash there. Just caught him on that back heel, you see when he lands. That one there coming on the way down. That hurts.
Trainer not needed. Caltack's back on his feet. As we tick into the final 10 minutes, it feels like there's a deceptive amount of time left in this game for something to happen. It's almost like Victory have gone into dropping anchor and time-wasting protocol a little early here. A second goal, a safety net, would leave them sitting pretty to finish Unite round. 5 points clear on top of the league. Here's the corner flicked away by Wenzel Halls. Now Falami. The little jink. And Ballard ultimately has to settle for a goal kick. Victory are getting Eli Adams ready to come on. Of course, scored a spectacular first A-League goal against the Perth Glory last week. And he's going to come on here. Jason Guerrier. Mariners have also got Jing Reese. One career A-League goal for him. Making just his 9th appearance, the 20-year-old. He's coming on for Alu Kuol. So fresh legs in attack. Perhaps to go and press the goalkeeper and provide an aerial presence. Both teams make a sharp change. Not much time wasted on those subs, and the ball is back live already.
Good shift this afternoon from Jason Guerrier. He did look to prop in that passage just before, so perhaps just a slight injury concern.
Luble, who's moved into right back, plays it to Eli Adams, who's off the bench and away immediately. Jing Reese coming on to show us what he can do, trying to press the Victory defence. Traore. De Silva. Adams. Tough pass to control. Ultimately not able to get the better of Farrell. Handball given.
Mark Jackson's on the sideline just imploring his players forward. Go into the last passage of this game.
Ramasha. Adams. Similar position to where he scored from last week. At this time, he has 2 defenders to deal with. Collapses out of the way. Sees the run of Thea Harris. And Thea Harris goes to ground. He'll get the free kick here from Roderick Miranda. And there's a card to go with it. So another booking. But as we've seen, all the players on a card so far in the match have not really got themselves into a situation where anyone is concerned about getting themselves sent off. Roderick Miranda's the latest to take that test. Wenzel Halls. That cross too close to the keeper.
Easy pickings for Izzo there. Good move from Wenzel Halls, but just needed to pull that cross a little further away from the goalkeeper. We'll have the Mariners shirt making that near post run, blocking the vision of Izzo. Sort of now or never for the Mariners to make something of this match.
Raimar Shah with Eli Adams in plenty of space. Comes over to guard him now, but the ball is moving. Mushash slipped at the key moment, allows Caltack to come in, make it a duel. Adams helping out. Eli Adams immediately stripped of the ball by Ballard, who needs a second bite at it to keep it moving. Wenzel Halls to Thea Harris. Wasn't expecting a return pass. He's going to make it work. Nisbet. And coughed up by Angel Torres. Minutes of regulation to go. We've had a couple of shortish delays for players to be treated. An array of subs, but none of them too slow in taking place. Right now the onus is on the Mariners. If they want to equalise, they're the ones that have got to create. And Nisbet might just have put Wenzel Halls in position. Good slide challenge coming through from Roderick Miranda. Now Angel Torres got the better of Velupile. Wenzel Halls! And Traore finds the safety of conceding a corner.
It certainly feels like something's building here for the Central Coast Mariners. It was a good shimmy by Wenzel Halls. Found himself in good space, almost got something on the end of that. Definitely building for the Mariners. Good passages in these last moments.
He's been waiting since April for an A-League goal, Dylan Wenzel Halls. Mariners again, players congregated beyond the far post here. Angel Torres sends it sky high. Farrell sets himself in the air. And the flag is up. It must have gone out as it looped back around. Mark Jackson not happy. Tony Popovich has got the poker face on. It's also offside there, so good assistant refereeing.
Clever from Victory too, stepping off their line really quickly. Clever defensive shape and smart, as it has been all afternoon. One thing for sure is that Popovich has them tactically so well drilled in that defensive positioning.
Here Harris. Dispossessed, Brimmer, clever. Again, Jake Brimmer is the one player that Victory can trust to put his foot on the ball and control the tempo of the game. Here he is now. Switching out to Eli Adams. Isolated one-on-one against Farrell. Adams didn't want to recreate last week's heroics and ultimately prods a pass out for a goal kick.
It's not a bad idea by the youngster Eli Adams.
So we see the Paramount Plus player index. Jacob Farrell, interestingly, well clear on top. Damien De Silva and Jake Brimmer, second half sub, rounding out the top three. The panel will debate that along with their Tobin votes as part of our coverage. Here's Adams. Farrell. Able to extract the ball with a clean challenge. Nisbet legged immediately back to his feet. Ballard. All happening deep in midfield for the Mariners. Can they flip the field here with an incisive through ball? Jing Reese round the goalkeeper. A question of the finish. And the Mariners equalise in the 89th minute. All smiles at Allianz. Unite Round has a Central Coast Mariners goal for Jing Reese. And a late leveller that sets this one up for stoppage time.
Well, we said it was building. We said the Central Coast Mariners, they were driving forward, they were creating options. And a huge moment for the young substitute on the Harvey Norman replay. Well, it's direct, it's right down the middle. The run is timed to perfection. The first touch too around the outcoming Paul Izzo had to be perfect. And Jing Reese makes no mistake. Nestles into the back of the net. And it's 1-1 at Allianz Stadium.
Just his second career A-League men's goal. Spent some time in Denmark. He's been part of the young Socceroos setup in the back of the net against Newcastle earlier in the season. And you can see what it means on the sidelines for the Central Coast Mariners. Just 20 years of age. And a very highly rated young forward. Of course, if you're in the national team setup, it's no guarantee that you get minutes in the A-League men's. In there at youth level, Jing Reese is making a name for himself. And now, how many minutes of stoppage time? 5. Not a huge tally as Jacob Farrell cramps up.
So much of the Mariners' approach to goal this afternoon has come from the wings, looking for the crosses in. But that last one, make no mistake, couldn't be more direct, straight down the middle.
There's a look at the offside line. Max Ballard gets the assist. As you see, a beautifully measured finish. Melbourne Victory have conceded an equaliser in the 89th minute in consecutive games. Like last weekend against Perth, will there be a stoppage time winner for the Mariners? Can they complete the comeback? Who can dig deep for one last burst at the end of the afternoon? De Silva. Farrell willed himself onto the ball, but then left it behind for Villupile. Nisbet makes the challenge. Adams. Back to De Silva. It's a crucial game on the table. It means that Wellington Phoenix could get end of the round top of the league. They win their game against Perth on Sunday night. Seconds of the additional 5 minutes have ticked by. Max Ballard, pass from him. Caltac, route 1, run up the middle. Jingree's trying to make a presence. Ultimately, a bit of a miscommunication, but finds safety in the form of Traore, and he hooks it around the corner for Lamy. Dispossessed by Rue. Angel Torres. Ball falls to Falami. Mashash. His own heels, but he goes back and retrieves. Brimmer. Now right Marchand. And to Eli Adams on the right. Villupile making an energetic run, but Adams ignores it. Adams ran into the challenge of Nisbet. Now Mashash, it's very crowded. Adams can't step through two defenders, and Brian Caltac still had plenty of power behind that clearance, even as he slips.
Of course, Eli Adams had that delightful goal last week for the Victory. You can see he's just trying to prime himself up onto his left foot to get the strike away in a similar fashion. Desperation defence from the Mariners at the moment.
2 minutes if either team are good enough. Villupile. Mashash. Couldn't quite take control of the ball. Traore. We get another chance. Villupile. Blocked by Farrell. Now here comes Torres. Villupile in an energetic contest, and ultimately the ball finds its way out, but free kick going the Mariners' way, and a yellow card for Nishan Villupile. The cost of doing business. Desperate final stages of stoppage time. The Mariners are going to bring on Nathan Paul here, the tall centre back. We have another look at the shirt grabbing that was going on. I mean, Villupile can argue Torres had a fair old handful of him. So a late sub. Christian Theoharis has run himself into the ground, and the Mariners perhaps not wanting to run any risks, maybe wanting the set-piece aerial threat of Nathan Paul. Should they win one in these final 60 seconds, on comes the youngster. Big congratulations for Theoharis as he hits the bench. Ballard. Mariners looking to turn it around with 2 late goals. Caltac. Now the sub, Nathan Paul. Didn't like any of his options ahead of the ball. Caltac. Long diagonal ball. Stormroo had his arm up calling for it. Nods it on, not to his team's advantage. Traore back to Izzo. A hurried clearance. Rue. Torres. Able to slalom through. Menzel Halls was lurking, an acrobatic clearance. Danger not yet averted. Torres. Nisbet challenging in the air. And Izzo clams two hands around the ball.
Nervy moments for Melbourne Victory's defence. Finally scrambled the ball away, but Central Coast Mariners have not stopped pushing forward.
5 minutes of stoppage time is up. Did start with that cramp from Jacob Farrell, so maybe another 30 seconds, maybe another minute. Time enough for the victory if they're sharp. Farrell wins the header away. And that'll do it. Frustration for the Melbourne Victory. Their unbeaten season may continue, but for the second game in a row, an 89th minute equaliser. And this time, it costs them all 3 points. The Mariners, a hard-earned draw, feel as though they would have been a little bit short-changed had they left without a goal, and they had to wait until very late before Jing Reese scored the equaliser. Daniel Arzani's first half penalty had Victory sitting pretty, but ultimately the Mariners, a bit of never say die attitude from them. They are good enough to leave with a share of the spoils, thanks to that man's second career Isuzu Ute A-League men's goal. Handshakes at full time then. And ultimately it ends in Unite Round at Allianz Stadium. Central Coast Mariners 1, Melbourne Victory 1. And let's go down into the aftermath. Daniel Garr.
Central Coast Mariners have been on a real tear of late, and I think that's now 19 victories over across all comps now, and they'll be delighted if not away with a point that after dragging on much of that match.
Yeah, the standard has been set tonight. Brilliant game. Hopefully another one can come. We do not go anywhere with Adelaide United. Coming up against the FC is going to be a cracker.
This one is Central Coast 8 here. We can see the Coyotes already got themselves in the house in no doubt. Plenty of support for that the Sydney FC and their home to be at Allianz Stadium. No doubt. And the greatest thing, if you want to see as well, it's a band here. Make sure you see the QR code on the big screen. When you do, scan it through your own phone. You can see yourself up on the big screen. It's huge.
Pretty cool.
Love it.
So do not go anywhere. We'll be back very, very soon.
Hey kid, you like this summer? You have a lot of friends? I mean, the neighborhood's good for kids, right?
You can leave anytime you like.
What's the million house price?
He's going to go for median house price. You don't happen to know median house price? Know more about the suburb you're searching.